Hello and welcome to the video. This is a slightly different format than the one I normally do. Now I'm going to be looking at all of this technology here on the bench and going through it, and rather than do one video for one product I've kind of collected all these pieces together and I'm going to run through them in one video as kind of a roundup. Now if you like this kind of format then do let me know, or if there are any of these products that you want to have a lot more detail on then let me know as well. And do stay on for the end because I will be running a competition for one of these bits of kit. So the first thing we'll have a look at is these things here. Now these are the latest sensors from Maytake. Now Maytake have been coming out with some really good stuff and I'm a big fan of the Maytake flight controllers. You'll see me using the Maytake 765, the 405, the 411 and lots of things in different builds as well as in quadcopters too. Now iNav has support for both optical flow and LiDAR sensors as well. Now I've put a LiDAR sensor, much more expensive one than this, into a wing. In fact that was one running ArduPilot. Now sadly this isn't supported by ArduPilot, but it is supported by iNav. Now this little board here, on it has both the optical flow and the LiDAR technology, and it means that it's going to provide both of those feeds into iNav. And the mounting holes here are 30.5 millimeters 3M holes, so you could with a little spacer use the bolt that goes through the bottom of your quadcopter to kind of hold this in place. And in fact it shows that on the website. The only thing it does mention though on the website is you do need at least 20 millimeters of space for it when it lands on the ground, so you're going to need something with feet ideally to use this, and it shows you how to set it up in iNav for the MSP stuff for both the rangefinder and the optical flow. This is a cool little thing. It's worthwhile having a look at if you want to build a quadcopter that you want to be able to park in space and you want to be able to have it so that it manages its height nearer the ground really accurately. Next thing to look at is this one here. This is the Furious FPV TrueD V4.0 diversity module. Now this is something that I've had in for a couple of weeks and been testing, and it works really nicely. For those of you that have watched the channel before, you will remember that I had the previous version, the 3.5, and loved it until I got the rapid fire in. This is a standard diversity module. It doesn't do any of the really funky stuff, things like the new rapid fire, the fusion, or its bigger brother, the TrueDX, where it's listening to both antennas all the time and it is using both signals to reconstitute the image. This is classic diversity where it's flicking between the two. It's new hardware, a new algorithm, new firmware, and a slightly new experience. There is a USB port at the side so you can update it, which is great, and it's going to work beautifully if you have Fat Shark goggles or goggles that have the same kind of module bay. There is a nice on-screen display too, so you can see exactly what's going on. It allows you to see the RSSI information, but also an awful lot more. Now the price of this on the FPV website is about $75, so this is one of the nicest diversity modules that I've tried out here. But if you wanted the ultimate, then it's probably worthwhile saving up a little bit more money and getting something like the TrueDX or one of those other modern systems that actually uses both antennas all the time. Now the last two things are from Toolkit RC. One of them is a little watt meter and the other one is a servo tester, but calling them a watt meter and a servo tester is doing them a bit of a disservice. These are modern little devices that take those ideas of what we think of in the hobby as watt meters and servo checkers into the modern age with color, screens, graphs, and loads of other things too. So the first one to look at is this thing here. This is the WM150, 150 amp, 50 volt watt meter, has an LCD display. It also provides the PWM output. So this would have been so handy when I was doing all of my thrust testing for the endurance build, because I could have just popped on the ESC on the side with the motor. I wouldn't have had to do all that messing about. Putting it between the source and the load gives you a big graph of both the maximum, the minimum, the wattage, and also graphs out the way that that wattage is being pulled to. So this is something that I'm going to keep, because next time we do those kind of motor testing videos, this is going to be worth its weight in gold. The other thing I like about this is despite all the cool things that it does, it's pretty cheap and cheerful. It's less than £24 on places like Banggood. So if you wanted to do some investigation of how much a particular motor or load is pulling, this is probably now the watt meter that I would recommend. The other piece of kit that I've been playing with here that I've been very impressed with is the Toolkit RC ST8. Now this is one of those things that has lots and lots of different features, but the very basic, it is a servo checker, and if you plug a servo in, you can power it. The great thing is you can just power it straight from a LiPo battery. You don't need a battery eliminator circuit to provide the 5 volts like most of the other servo checkers that I have here. It has a graph and it will show you the instant current draw. It will graph that out as you move things around. You can exercise servo, find the middle. Supports PWM, PPM, S-Bus, and is a great little device. I keep playing with this. There have been quite a few updates to the firmware to these, and you can update them very quickly. There's a little USB port at the side, and also on the watt meter, you plug it into the computer, copy the latest firmware onto the root directory of the thumb drive that appears on the machine, and then next time you boot it, it does the update. But this has been a very fun thing to play with. Now, if you just want to do a very, very quick and dirty check on the servo, and you want to do the kind of pre-checks that I tend to do when I'm building planes, or get the mix absolutely spot on first time using my advanced plane setup video, then this might be overkill. But if you are putting a plane together and you want to see how much current these bigger servos are pulling, or whether or not you have a busted servo, this is a great option. And again, it's only about £40 on places like Banggood. So it's one of those things that will sit on your bench and I imagine get used quite regularly, particularly if you use a lot of servos in the stuff you're doing. So there we go, quick overview of some of the latest cool stuff that's hit the bench that has impressed me. But I'm not going to be using this module. I like things like the rapid fire, I've got the fusion and other things in here as well. So if you have a set of Fat Shark goggles and you need a diversity module that's going to have the on-screen display and all the cool stuff that this thing has, then leave a comment down below, like the video, and make sure you're a subscriber of the channel. I'll be pulling the names out the hat in a couple of weeks. Good luck to everybody. And please let me know if you think this format is a slightly better one. It does mean that rather than have lots and lots of videos, I can kind of collect this stuff together when it comes in and keep you up to date of what's new here on the bench. Thanks for watching the video and watching right to the very end. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you like the video and like what I'm doing here, then hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon too. If you really like what I'm doing, you can go the extra mile and become one of my Patreons for access to me directly for support, and also giveaways and regular updates too. If you're looking for particular content, then check out the playlist. I organise all of my videos into playlists, so if you're looking for a particular topic, you can find everything here. If it's called Introduction To, it's designed to start very simply and build on that simple introduction to teach you all about it. If it's called For Beginners, then that is really aimed at people who are brand new to that part of the hobby. You can also search on YouTube for anything that you're interested in using the search function at the top. So iNav Painless 360 will find all of my videos and even the playlist around iNav. So thanks again for watching and happy flying.